As you've seen throughout the season, we have a tendency to gravitate towards arcadey sports titles. During the 90s, these titles were aplenty, with some being much better than others. Naturally, violence is a part of most professional sports, whether it be football or, in a more direct manner, hockey. It didn't take long for violence to work its way into video games, and sports titles featuring a weird brand of intense action came soon after. Konami's Base Wars and SNK's Super Baseball 2020 featured futuristic sports gameplay that proved weird concepts could pay off in a sports title. Naturally, EA decided to get into this genre as well. First with Mutant League Football, and second with the game we'll be discussing today, Mutant League Hockey. Mutant League Hockey was developed and published by Electronic Arts and was released in 1994, only 1 year after Mutant League Football was released. The mutant-themed sports games began as an idea from series creator Michael Mendheim. He said he wanted to develop a game like Madden, but set in a surreal and violent fantasy world. The world and themes were inspired by films like Aliens, Rollerball, and even Star Wars. EA liked this idea too, and development began on Mutant League Football as a Genesis exclusive. After Mutant League Football was released in 1993, it received critical and commercial success, leading EA to commission more games in the series to be developed as soon as possible. A basketball game, a racing game, and a sequel were all in development in addition to Mutant League Hockey, but sadly none of these titles were ever released. After the success of Mutant League Football, a TV show based on the series was also created called Mutant League. The show ran for 2 seasons and featured a variety of sports not included in the video game series, like soccer and volleyball. You would think that after all of the positive things to come out of Mutant League Football, that the series would have continued and made more money for EA, but that's just not the case. Creator Michael Mendheim seemed to think that this sudden change of heart was the result of 3 things. Mendheim said, quote, "A year after Mutant League Football shipped, Mutant League Hockey was rushed to market. The game was okay, but not what it could have been with a bit more time. The entire brand was killed after that. There were several factors which were responsible, but I believe Trip Hawkins leaving EA to start 3DO was a factor. Also, EA didn't want any cannibalization of Madden football, which made total sense, and I'm sure that Mutant League Football being claimed the most violent video game by the press didn't help our cause. Similar to how Mutant League Football used the Madden 93 engine, Mutant League Hockey used the NHL 94 engine. The team was given quite the amount of freedom to work on the game after the success of the first game. However, after its rushed development and low marketing budget, Mutant League Hockey received poor sales, and it was the end for mutants playing sports. A spiritual successor to Mutant League Football was announced in 2013, with a Kickstarter by Mendheim called Mutant Football League. After failing to meet its goals, the game was finally released in 2017 on Steam, with ports for Xbox One and PS4 coming in 2018. Naturally, with this being a sports game, there's no story, and I can't help but think this game would be better with one. The manual for Mutant League Football states that it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where radiation has caused the human race to mutate and the dead to become zombies and rise from the grave. The exact cause for the apocalypse is unknown, and the information on what caused it has been lost over time in the game world. The game features 23 hockey teams to choose from, some being parodies of real-life teams, like the Mighty Weenies and the Pucksucker Pukes, parodying the Mighty Ducks and Pittsburgh Penguins respectively. Each team consists of players featuring robots, skeletons, and trolls, removing the aliens and superhumans from its predecessor. The graphics, while not great, fit the tone of the game nicely. The constant onslaught of gore and body parts all over the ice makes the game feel absolutely insane at points. For how much can be going on at once, the game runs decently well, and all of the sprites, while not super detailed, have a wacky style that really works. There's not much music in the game, and what is there is very generic. There's no music during the games, and the menu music just seems to be filler tracks. The sound effects can also get to be quite annoying at times. While it makes sense because it makes things feel hectic, it can very easily just become so many that you don't know who's punching who and what the hell is actually going on. The voices of the mutants in the game are also very annoying as well. We would have very much preferred there would be no voiceover during these parts. They add nothing to the game, and just had us pushing the button to skip every time they came up. The game plays like normal hockey, only if normal hockey was f***ing insane. Each arena features a variety of obstacles like bottomless pits and mines that serve to try and kill as many players as possible. You can win the game by normal means, or you can kill the entire enemy team, causing them to forfeit. Pits aren't the only danger to your players. In addition to normal hockey violence, you can also use weapons like chainsaws and axes to kill the other team. The crowd will throw these along with other power-ups onto the ice for either team to use. When a player is killed, their body remains on the ice until the end of the period, when a giant slug comes out and eats all the remains. These bodies can also be tripped on, adding another layer to the chaos. This game is quite gory in a cartoony kind of way as well. Players will explode into pools of blood, and body parts will be scattered everywhere. This never becomes too much though. With a game from the 90s called Mutant League Hockey, you can expect there to be some kind of wacky violence involved. You can also perform a special play during stoppages in the game. This is something like killing the other team's goalie or bribing the ref. All of these different elements add a layer of strategy to the game. Do you want to play it safe and score goals, or do you want to kill the entire other team? It's up to you. Like real hockey, there are also fights in this game. These feel like they are almost triggered at random, and they take you to a separate screen for a fighting minigame. It becomes a 2D fighting game with health bars, one button being punch and the other being block. These can be a bit frustrating until you get the hang of it, but they are a welcome addition to the game. After the fight, both players receive a penalty. However, the loser receives the longer one. From the main menu, you can choose either a single game or playoffs, with playoffs having the ability to be continued through the game's password system. You can also read a description on each team, providing some additional context on the world amongst other things. Mutant League Hockey is a game that puts its weirdness in the forefront, and that is both its strength and its weakness. While the game can be fun in a chaotic sense, never knowing what's going on, if you're looking for a competent sports title, then you really won't find one here. The skating can feel extremely sluggish at times, making it hard to control and causing you to kill your players without a choice. The gameplay just isn't tight enough to allow the sort of 90s nostalgia to properly compel you to replay it. If you want a wacky, nonsensical sports title that loses its steam quickly, then that's what you've got here. But if you want a game that you can go back to, like you should with any sports game, Mutant League Hockey is not for you.